Alright guys, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. Devin Haney obtains the WBC Welterweight title in an absolutely dominating fashion against Regis Prograis in a one-sided masterclass, virtuoso performance. A lot of us, including myself, thought it would be a unanimous decision from Haney. I didn't know it'd be that wide. Regis actually scored the career low, whatever you want to say about CompuBox, there's somewhere in the ballpark, career low punches landed on any opponent in 12 rounds. That's quite something. Let's talk about this fight.
Boxing.
Okay, shout out to all the subscribers. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and gratitude to anybody new. Welcome along. This fight, I watched it back a little bit this morning, although it's not one of those fights that you really wanted to watch it back just because there was very little action in terms of competitiveness. Now, the first round, look, Devin Haney looked a sizable 140. You know, he did. He looked strong, and we saw the pictures going in where I was like, you know, I don't know how out physically gunned he's going to be, but it never really got to that because Regis just could not close the gap, and that was the biggest concern leading into this fight. Is like, can Regis cut the ring off? Can he close the gap? Can he, you know, cut the distance so he can get his shots off, because he ain't going to be able to do anything from the outside or the mid-range. And actually the first round was just a feeling out round, especially for Haney, but it was close. You know, you could have quite easily given it to either fighter. There wasn't a lot going on, but Regis was in the middle and they were boxing, and it was somewhat interesting, you know, but after that Haney started to find his range, and he just started to just reel off a plethora of different punches from, you know, he was able to hit him with jabs, with straight right hands, check hooks. That backhand uppercut is something I spoke about pre-fight, and I was like, that is going to be a really important punch when Prograis comes in, or even if he's not in. Haney was probing him to blind him a little bit, and then sending that backhand uppercut in, and that looked like it had a bit of meat on him. But it wasn't the punch that dropped him. That was in the third round, I think. That was a straight right hand, and it almost looked from the TV like it was in slow motion, because he cocked it a little bit, and he was right in front of Regis, and then boom, and it landed flush, and it dropped Regis, and he looked a little shaky. And really, from then on, really, it was just one-sided. And even in round two, Haney came alive a little bit, but it did really. After that, it was just like, I really don't give Regis any chance at all. And look, he just could not get past that that first line of defense. And look, Haney, we thought Haney might jab and clinch, and like, he didn't need to clinch, because Prograis couldn't get into his zone where he was able to clinch. He just couldn't get past that first line of defense. Haney's computer processor was working 5 times faster, as it does with him against most fighters, if not all, because he's just got that speedy hand-eye coordination. Whatever the latest Mac 2.7 Intel processing speed does, that's what he has. Regis' slow feet. You know, he's just never going to be that type of fighter. If we'll talk about who they're going to fight next. If Regis, whoever he is fighting next, don't put him anyone that can remotely move their feet, because he's a really good fighter. I've loved him for years. Anyone that's followed the channel knows that. But like, his footwork is suited for his style, which is if he likes you right here in the mid-range, or he can come long range, or he likes you on the inside too. But when he's on the mid-range, he uses that head movement to good effect with his flatter feet. But when he has to go looking for it laterally, it's just no time in the world would be able to clean that up, to be honest. It could take you maybe 2 years if you just drilled that, but even then, he's just an ingrained fighter with how he fights, his movement forward. A little bit of heel first again. Covered all this in the pre-fight video I made, where I was like, it's probably going to be a very clear win from Haney, or a clear win. I don't really give Regis a chance to land that backhand, which is his money punch. And I was like, I don't think he's going to be able to land it, because when you're waiting for one punch as well, that's his money punch. Like, and you're so far ahead with your, you know, your reading of the game, and the feet and everything is a lot slower. All you've really got to look out for really is him coming in and charging you a little bit, which he was managed to, you know, put that out every single time, with either with jabs or with posting them, and then probing jab, and then coming through with right hands, like I said, check hooks. And he had every punch in the book, Devin Haney did. But, you know, once Regis can't do that, there's no way he's going to be able to land that backhand. No way. His best opportunity was to successfully cut the ring off and push Haney back. That ring was massive as well. That ring did not help Regis at all. That is a huge ring. I don't think it would have mattered what size the ring was, to be honest, unless it was like a 6x6, which obviously isn't, you know, I don't know what the minimum is, maybe 17x17, but even then, I think it just, Haney would be too good, because he didn't have to get to that. He didn't even get a step out of gear 2, really. And he didn't have to bring the clinches in because he didn't need to. But that would have been the third or fourth line of defense, you know. So, yeah. I mean, look, Regis, he certainly got hurt a couple of times. He looked a bit shaky. And, you know, his corner were expressing a bit of concern. I think it was in the 9th or 10th, rightfully so. And actually, about his corner, I was watching the Twitter feed last night. Breadman, Caleb Plant's trainer, was saying, you know, how, you know, wondering why Bobby Benton, who has been the trainer of Regis for a very long time, at least for as long as I've been watching him, maybe since he was started boxing, but Bobby Benton, the lead guy, wasn't the lead trainer last night. Julian Chua, who is a good trainer, and I've known he's got a few fighters now. Prograis speaks very highly of him, but it was interesting. And Breadman was, I guess, maybe disappointed or wondering why that role had been taken away from him, I guess. But nonetheless, they worked well as a team leading up to this, and, you know, they're cohesive, but they were concerned about Prograis, and he was just, you could just tell he didn't know what to do, because he doesn't have the footwork to be able to do it, or the speed. It was a speed gap big time, not just with like physical speed, with hand speed and foot speed. Obviously Haney's step back ability to step back and see was just really, that was probably the biggest difference, to be honest. It's the most powerful defensive move in boxing, is a quick little step back. And if you see your opponent, you read them, and you just keep stepping back, and especially if you've got good jabs. And Haney was able to, his counter punching is getting a lot sharper. He's getting so much better. What a fighter. But there were some, you know, commentators at the end of that saying, well, you know, he should be right in there and be able to beat anybody. Look, when you have a good performance like that, I get it. But the massive thing is like, that was so tailor-made for him, that style, as was Zaria. And I was just like, Haney's a super duper version of that, with, you know, other stuff as well. They fight a little differently with, well, Haney's just got a repertoire of different punches, you know, and he's getting so much better. And actually, Haney's gloves, to me, looked like they were like 16 ounces. I'm not saying they were. He was just able to really get his full size of his hand to, you know, just make the most of it. I think, like, really good fighters now can do that. They really extend their hand in their glove, and it makes the glove look massive. And Regis had his tight fists like this, and his gloves were just looking like 6 ounces. And Haney's were looking like 16 ounces, which, you know, for punching, you know, I'm not saying they were, but I'm just saying it's good for defense, you know, because he can hold them up like that. And when he was holding Regis's head, he just looked like he had massive 16-ounce gloves on. There was no way that round, you could do that fight in 100 rounds, and that would be the same thing. There's no way in the world on this planet Regis would beat Haney. It's not going to happen. But, you know, I didn't see it being that decisive, but I didn't really give Regis much of a chance, to be honest with you. I thought his best chance, as I said, would be just to bully him and bang him on the ropes and just like pause. You know, just like get him on the ropes and just basically let his hands go. And if the clinch wasn't there, basically just assault him, you know. But he didn't even get to that. Haney was, like I said, 5 steps ahead of him. Masterclass. He's going to be a problem at 140 and 147 too. I would love to see how he does with Subriel Matias, to be honest with you. I would love to see it. I mean, after that performance, given that Matias, his feet are deceptively quick at times, but they can be clumsy as well. They are getting cleaned up, but I think the only person that can really beat Matias outside of maybe a Tio, but I think that could get pretty dark down the stretch for Tio, if I'm honest. Devin Haney, you know, it's got to be a pure boxer, and that was a pure boxing display last night. That was a hit and don't get hit. Skills pay the bills. Skills beat will is another saying that's similar to that. It doesn't get used as much, which is, you know, obviously in that category. But I wouldn't put that Prograis down as just a will fighter. He's got a lot of will, but he just didn't know how to channel his determination because of his lack of footwork and his inability to cut the ring off. And, you know, he did a little better in the sense that he wasn't getting completely caught out, but Haney's step backs and ability to read was just a super duper version of Zaria. Amazing performance, and he'll be in some good fights, but I wouldn't just, based off of that performance, which it was a great performance, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying stylistically that made him look so much better because he knew what to do as well. But if you put him in there with one of the top guys, I'm not just gonna, I'd pick him to beat Garcia for sure. I don't think Tank would lose to, I'd favor Tank slightly, you know. It would be a cagey match, I reckon, but Tank's power, he always lands it, doesn't he? I'd have to watch a bit more film, but I wouldn't favor Haney over Tank just yet, not just based off of that. And him and Haney and Tio, that'd be an interesting one. I'd favor Haney over Matias now. There's some great fights at 140. There's some great fights at 140. In fact, Kurt Scooby from Gleason's Gym, he's going to be in the mix soon. He said he sparred Devin Haney a couple of years ago. And and I'm probably being gym biased right now, but when you see someone train and you see them daily and you know their attitude and you see what they're up to, it creates a different story because you can look at his Instagram. I mean, the amount of dedication that guy's on, and like he's just, for me, a world champion in the making. So, but I do wish him well, and I wish that whole gym well because that's been part of my life for 15 years. But that's another story. But Devin Haney wins the WBC, becomes the full champion. Well, that was he took the belt off Regis. What should he do next? Look, there's some big fights up there, like I mentioned. No one really mentioned Shakur. I mean, that's probably going to be a fairly dull fight, to be honest with you. Although as interesting and tactical as it would be and as skillful, and we all love skills, so not all of us, but many of us love skills. But, you know, it's when the skill gap gets too wide and the skills get overused. We want to see a fight at the end of the day. We want to see somebody go through adversity and somebody get hit hard and get hurt and come back, you know, all the makings of a good fight. We want at least a few of them. You know, like I said, I didn't fully watch the fight back because I was just like, I know what happened, and I was just trying to refresh a few things, that's all. But I hope you guys got a chance to watch the fight. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Who do you think Haney should fight? Do you think he is favored to beat all the top guys based off of that, or do you think it's a stylistic thing? Because I do. I'm not saying it wouldn't be competitive. They all would be. But I just think that Regis was just tailor-made for him. Tailor-made. But nonetheless, very exciting times. Great year of boxing. As I said, I've got this 2023 highlight reel coming up. I'll probably work on it today, actually. So hopefully that'll be out in the next few days. I've still got this B-roll project coming, and we've got all these fight predictions for the Saudi card coming up as well, and I've got just a few random things. I'm quite a random content creator. And shout out to all the new subscribers. Peace and love to you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you are new, and hit the like button. It's got to come from here every single time. Peace. I'm out. Boxing on the edge. Boxing.